Saluton, and welcome to this Markov Dossier Bat Rep. In this video, we are going to go over our most recent AC Clash, or Armoured Clash is probably the most sensible way to say that sentence.
5 seconds in, you're already stumbling over your words.
Yep.
Yep, zip. Our most recent Armoured Clash.
Yep. Our recent Clash of Armour in Armoured Clash.
That'll do. Close enough. So, the Pilgrims. Just 1 week ago from this recording date, Scott and I met up at our favourite gaming place, Elite Gaming Lounge, booked the table for the day, and we had a full Empire battle group versus a full Crown battle group.
Yep.
About 1,940 points, I think is what we brought up.
1940 is what we got up to. So I took 2 battle groups. I took a faction battle group, which consisted of a Sovereign, a reinforced Engineers unit, a reinforced Spitfires unit, a reinforced Blackwatch Heavy Dragoons unit, a reinforced Galahad unit, a basic Sterling Transport unit, a basic Boars unit, a basic Mordred unit, and a Defiance basic unit. I also took a second battle group, which was a support auxiliary battle group, which was consisting of a reinforced rifle command platoon, a reinforced Drake field gun unit, a basic Glamis unit, a reinforced sharp unit, and a reinforced horse guard cavalry. And it came to 1940 exactly.
Okay. I put everything into one faction battle group. So my commander was the Laoshan landship. I had a reinforced guard platoon, reinforced flame team, reinforced rocket team, reinforced terracotta automata, reinforced Bulnabang wind infantry, reinforced Jinduyan stinbikes, and then I went basic on Tanshi artillery chariots, bio flak launchers, Tongshi lion automata. I had a reinforced Jazale team, Yanshu flame tanks, Fangung medium tanks, Sanli heavy artillery, Fengbao heavy launchers all at basic, and a Doksuri fighter squadron also at basic.
Right, so we decided to set up a battlefield, and we have almost completely filled out Eldon village now. There is Upper Eldon and Lower Eldon. So we decided we were going to play pitch battle in this scenario because it was the first proper big battle that we'd done for a while. So we just thought it'd work, and especially with the idea we had for the board we'd got, where we'd got the 3 bridges, one massive behemoth-sized one, a specific gantry over a river inside a building, and then a third smaller infantry bridge at the end.
There were also... Did we put one other bridge on there that wasn't an objective, or was there 2 other bridges?
There was 2 other bridges on there.
Yeah, that were not objectives.
The stone one and the wooden one, which we decided that if you wanted to cross with something that was classed as heavy, you had to roll a dice, and if you got an X, the bridge would collapse under the weight of the heavy unit, and then it would no longer be in use. So
we didn't miss that.
A little extra flavour. We also decided that the building over the river was actually in 3 sections because it's so large. We decided that to get to the middle section, you would have to go through one of the side sections to be able to claim the objective.
Yeah, effectively taking 2 turns to get to the section because it was a garrison and then another garrison following it. Rules are in the rule book for extra large buildings where there can be separate sections, so that's what we followed.
Yep. So let's kick off with our deployment. I'll let you go through your deployment first. What were your main sort of... I'm putting this here for this reason and I'm doing this for this reason.
Bold of you to think I had a plan. To be honest, the main thinking I had was I wanted my Jezzail teams in a building quickly so they could use that to shoot out from our elevated position, because the last time I've used Jezzails I was a bit underwhelmed with them. I thought maybe it was all about positioning, so that was one thing I wanted to get right. I wanted my Laoshan on the big road going across the river because there's an objective in the middle of it, and I thought that's the most obvious thing, and I thought surely that's where you're going to put your landship as well. And then it was me being very cagey and trying to work out where you were putting your armour so I could put my artillery to match it. And you started putting your armour on what was my left, so that's where I started putting my artillery. And I think that kind of worked out well. And the rest it was simply just scattering infantry across the table to try and take advantage of as many of the objectives. I think the only thing I thought about was putting my Bulnabangs near the middle, because I wanted my Bulnabangs to take the middle objective as fast as possible. Yeah, that pretty much covers it.
So, for my deployment, I'd realised two things almost instantly. One, that my Sovereign could not fit on the other side of the factory, so I couldn't actually fit it onto the road where I had planned to put it.
To be fair, I did offer you to let you do that, and you turned me down because you thought I'd just artillery you the moment I saw you.
Yeah.
To be fair, I would have done.
It was very out in the open, and I'm not sure whether it's a good idea to put the Sovereign in the corner, but we'll come to that. Mainly, I just, from the last time we played, putting your artillery right at the edge of the board is not a good idea because they will just get swept up. And I also put my engineers inside the Sovereign. I forgot to put anything into my Sterlings, which I think was a huge mistake, and everything else was just sort of where I could fit it, really, and where I thought it'd be best positioned to move over the bridge into the bridges and take them. And that's it. That's our deployment.
So the first piece of action that happened, you advanced your Spitfires. You can just see them just between those two white walls over the pontoon bridge. And they were too tempting a target for my anti-infantry artillery, I think it's Feng Bao, to give them the right... I've not got their names right in my head. I think it's Feng Bao that launched the gas globes. So I opened up with the Feng Baos on those, and I accounted for about 6 of the 8 models that make a Spitfire rocket group. So that was a very successful artillery attack, which was then followed up after you'd done some more moving. You can see in this picture my Bulnabangs have already took the first level of the major complex, and my Jinduan steamboats have moved up, and they opened fire on the remaining Spitfires and wiped them out. And because I had a fortuitous hand, that gave me quite a few points for doing that.
Yeah, it was quite a devastating first volley against the Spitfires. They were very good in the last game, but this time they did less than nothing. They jumped forwards, got gas globe, and got steam biked off the board, unfortunately.
The next thing, there was a bit more advancing around, and your Galahads came into view, at which point I decided to open up with my Jezzail team, camped out in the church, and we managed to pick off your commander. Now, again, this is where we made a mistake. I forgot about the rule where if you're garrisoning a building, you don't get full strength when you're shooting. You only count as half the models. So it's possible your tank commander should have survived the volley. I can't remember exactly what we rolled for that, but we did kill the tank commander of your Galahads, which of course caused you to be disordered for a little while.
It was tricky because, like you say, I don't think we took too much notice of it till right near the end of the game when we realised what we'd done. It's one of those things where it's just like, well, we've done it now. It's too late. Yeah. But yeah,
it's only our second game. We're going to be struggling, with the best will in the world. It's hard to remember every single rule, but we will. That's going to be one we remember next time.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so they were disordered. Luckily, being near the Sovereign, which is a commander, the disordered came off instantly. So it was sort of a very short-lived kerfuffle.
It was a moral victory for my snipers. This got brutal, so I advanced my Laoshan up the middle of the road, taking advantage of... This is worth knowing. If you're on a road, you get +2 inches. Anything. As long as you stay completely on the road for the entirety of your turn, you get +2 your movement. So you can suddenly zip up the battlefield quite quickly, take advantage of roads. And I did an all-out attack, which absolutely shredded your artillery camp.
Yep.
And I think I used a light attack on... Was it your dragoons? Did some chipping away, didn't damage them, but the heavy attack absolutely shredded your artillery, which I was very relieved about, because one thing I was quite... As far as much as I ever plan anything, I was thinking, the artillery's got to die before it gets a shot off, because otherwise I'm a dead man.
Yeah, it was kill with extreme prejudice, which is probably, a good thing, because the artillery teams had pretty much a free run to kill everything last game, didn't they, for most of the game?
Yeah.
And they certainly made their presence felt, which, definitely a good idea to take them out for certain.
If you were listening to this thinking, well, didn't Scott do anything? No, we'll get to that. He did, honestly. So that's that I think was the dice roll that removed most of your... I think that was the one that removed your artillery. Could be wrong.
Yep.
And that's how the board looked at the end of turn 1, I think. Straight away, the first difference we noticed between this and DW. In DW, very little happens in turn 1. In Armoured Clash, lots of things die. Turn 1 is just as lethal as all the other turns.
Yeah, definitely. It's not a case of... The same with Wild West Exodus a little bit, is that you are a little bit cagey about your movements and you are quite slow. It tends to be a setting up for turn 2 thing, but because of the artillery that you've got in this, you're always, from the beginning...
in range.
In threat range, and is quite likely you're going to lose at least maybe... like a few bases of models or some tanks or something. Like, you're not going to get out completely unscathed unless you've been very, very cagey about what you're doing.
Now we get some fun. This is one of the things you want to see in Armoured Clash, is two behemoths shooting each other. And this turned into quite the tussle. Obviously it wasn't going to be a bang on, but we were trying to blast chunks out of each other on a regular basis with this, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that the behemoths used to feel a little bit more fragile, but this game they definitely didn't feel fragile. You definitely felt like that taking one of these big monstrosities down is going to take a lot of concentrated fire, and it's not always going to go the way that you hope.
Yeah.
But I did manage to do 6 damage, which I was quite impressed by, to the Laoshan. I think with this one, because of bad positioning, then this is something where I was like, I'm not sure whether it's a good idea. Because of bad positioning, there was no light targets for me. There was only heavy. And I couldn't ram anything either because I was too far away. So, unfortunately, it was just the Sovereign unleashing hell into the Laoshan and doing 6 damage, which isn't terrible for a starting attack. And that was my dice roll for that.
Yeah. I must admit, I started to feel like, ooh, okay, you can dish out some punishment. I thought I may not have a Laoshan by the end of this thing. This is where I'd completely forgotten about aircraft and you needing to put your anti-aircraft troops on lookout to stop them. I'd forgotten all about that completely. You can see my anti-aircraft chariots just to the right of this picture. Completely forgot to put them on lookout in the last turn, which means your Defiant came in and shot with impunity all over my Green Banner Pie. I was like, oh, they're all going to die. However, your dice rolls didn't quite do that, but...
No, they weren't... It wasn't a great opening salvo. I managed to take 2 bases off, and they didn't have the Pavises either, so it wasn't like they were super hard to damage. No. It was just a case of the dice roll wasn't that great for them. I only managed to take off 2 bases from the massive unit of Green Banner Pie.
Yeah, I thought they were getting shredded for sure when you did that. I was like, oops, major poo-poo.
Yeah. So the Glamis unit was eliminated by the Nails.
Nice. Good lads, proving their worth this time, because they were utterly useless the last game we played. They're actually doing something quite useful. Well, but they're slightly overpowered, because I'm garrisoning a building I shouldn't be shooting that hard.
No, but... Again, it's one of those things. But yeah, they annihilated the poor Glamises. I don't think they got to shoot anything. I'm not sure. Because I put them into position to shoot at the Green Banner Pie or maybe the Giselles, but no, they felt the wrath of the Giselle team for sure.
This is my ill-fated Doxori attack, isn't it? Yes, I thought, right then, I'm not letting you have all the fun with your aircraft. I sent my Doxori in with the express idea of shooting up your Galahads before they could do anything, because that's what the Doxori is, it's a tank killer. Didn't get that far. You told me that I would be running the gauntlet of your anti-aircraft, which were on lookout, and I said, what the heck? Well, the heck was, I didn't make it. Just shot down. Nothing spectacular, just dead. Long before it even got the target.
Smoke trail in the distance, I think, was the fiery demise. So it was literally the good old Black Watch Dragoons taking aim and doing an immense amount of damage, which just took the plane out. Yeah. Because I had a 2-step plan, but I didn't realise that Doxori has the bank manoeuvre, which means that it can turn 90 degrees, I believe it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then draw a straight line to go off the battlefield that way.
My plan was run the gauntlet of the going in, but avoid it going out, because you had two units on the lookout, so I'd have been got both ways, but I didn't even get to go out. I didn't even make it. Dead.
No, it was quite surprising, but at the same time, I'm very concerned about the Doxoris versus Galahads, because they are specifically tank hunters. So, I imagine I would have lost another tank very easily to a Doxori.
Oh, you had some lovely black wire wool to put on the Doxori to show that it's going down.
Just to make it look pretty.
Now play switches over to the other side of the field, and we start moving troops up to the take the pontoon bridge, which is not a command post. You opened fire on my steam bikes and utterly shredded what was left of them.
Yeah.
Only two survivors of that, possibly?
2 survived, yeah. The sharp rifles proving
They were an absolute pain in the backside, they were.
Yeah, they were great all game. I also moved my Sterlings to block the bridge, just to kind of make it more difficult to get into my Drake field guns as well.
My fan guns opening up on your... Are they fan guns? No, they're Yao Shou, the other tank, the flame tank, opening up on your walkers.
Yeah, you managed to destroy 3 of my Black Watch Dragoons with flame tanks, which was, really, really impressive. I don't think we used the flame tanks last game. They didn't get anywhere, did they? They were
massively out of position and didn't get to shoot anything.
Yeah, but this time they were definitely whooshing lots of things. Mm-hmm. Took down the poor heavy dragoons.
Oh, is this where I ran over your troops? Now, as soon as I saw the Lao Shan model all those months ago, all I've wanted to do with it is run somebody over. What can I say? It's the inner orc in me. It's got a great big death roller on the front. It needed to run someone over, and Scott very kindly provided me a troop. What was it we ran over? It was your engineers?
Yeah, it was engineers.
Yeah. And very kindly lined up the engineers for me, and I thought, we're doing it. And I ran them over, and not a single one survived. It was glorious.
It was brutal, it really was. And
how many were in that group? 8?
8, yeah. 8.
8 stands squished.
2 defense, so you did at least 16 hits for certain. Yeah, so my plan was, they were in the Sovereign, I popped them out because they've got wreckers, so I thought, I'm just going to pop them out, run over to the Lao Shan, and just see what damage I can do. And as you can see from the top counter, I managed to do a whopping 2 damage to it before it just rolled right over them with no problems whatsoever. Every last man died.
I was worried because I thought, that's going to do quite a lot, but your dice roll let you down, and yep,
squishy puddle of engineers.
You blew up one of my tanks with something, and then rammed the Sovereign with the other one. Sorry, you rammed the Sovereign into my other tank and destroyed it, if I remember rightly.
So, yeah, also it's worth noting that the other parts of your all-out attack managed to take down 1 Galahad and almost all of the rest of the Black Watch unit. I was down to a single person. So I retaliated by doing the same thing, all-out attacking, and I rammed a flame tank because it was there, basically.
But importantly, you were contesting the fact that objective, so I couldn't claim it.
Yeah.
This picture, what you can see is my infantry have moved up into the middle building. Those are my Bulnerbags now in the centre part, and what's joining them behind them is my flame team. I actually had a plan. Last game, I found out to my horror how easy the Bulnerbangs cannot hold buildings, especially if they're attacked by your storming team. Is it your engineers that are stormers? I can't remember.
Yep, they are. Yeah.
So my plan was have the Bulnerbangs quickly snatch the objective, and when they inevitably die from being stormed, the flame team behind them, they are stormers, and because it's a 3-part building, it counts as storming another building. They would have took the objective back. So that was my plan. So I got the Bulnerbangs backed up by the flame team. I need to worry because you didn't actually move into the building until far too late. You ignored that objective completely.
I don't even think I moved into that building at all.
But that was my plan. So that's what you can see in the middle there, me holding that objective for the points.
This photo here is actually the Green Banner Pie also taking out the last of the Black Watch Dragoons as well. So that is another unit gone from my army.
And one thing I have to say is none of your units ever broke because you've got that rule where you could just spend a card to stop them breaking. That was frustrating. Okay, I've reached your break limit. No, bugger.
Light-hearted. It did mean I had to use a lot of my good cards for keeping myself in the game, but I think it was worth it for a couple of them where, like you say, it was just a little bit annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this is the charge of the Horse Guard Cavalry, who were absolute heroes. They charged into the chariots first of all, did a couple of bits of damage to them, and now because of the new overrun rule, because I didn't annihilate the unit, I managed to run over into the Green Banner Pie, which, if I remember rightly, wasn't as nasty as I hoped it would be.
No, your dice rolls more than the... I mean, on paper, that should have been a slaughter. Because you slammed into my flank. The overrun rule means you're at disadvantage on the second attack, aren't you? I think, if I remember something like that. But it was a bad dice roll, and the Green Banners held firm, which was quite surprising.
Yep. So they were locked in combat, but they were also suppressed now as well. So it wasn't a waste, but it could have been better. This is turn 3.
And I rammed the sovereign. And I rammed your sovereign, I believe.
Yep.
Didn't do as much damage as it did to the infantry, but still, it was a lot of fun doing it. Because that's what we're here for.
Yep.
I've got a big ram on my front. I want to use it as much as possible.
And it wasn't, like you say, it wasn't massively effective, but it was still pretty effective. Because I think it's like 17 dice, wasn't it? That it throws out for ramming stuff. So, yeah, pretty brutal. But luckily, the Sovereign is a sturdy thing.
Worth the mention, I think. The little piles of scatter terrain you made out from the crates that come with the building kit, I think that's just... So obviously, I've got loads of those left over. I'm going to make some as well because I think that instant scatter terrain, great, and they're big enough to make obscuring if you can just get a tank behind us, something possibly that. But I think that's just a really good use of bits.
It just makes them so they're not like on top of the buildings or like just little bits and pieces hanging around in the box on their own. So I just decided to glue them together.
This is one of the games where scatter terrain really does make the board. It may not have a tactical advantage, but it looks good.
Yep, it definitely looks really decent. I'm quite pleased with GW stuff as well.
So we did fudge the rules slightly. As you can see, the Sovereign's slightly in the river, which it shouldn't be, but we said it's probably mostly on the road. That'll be fine.
Yep, end of turn 3. As you can see, I've barely moved out of my table edge. I don't have a lot of stuff left. I think at this point I had my Sovereign, a single Galahad, the full strength command platoon, the Boars, a single Sterling, all of my sharp rifles, and some of my Drakes had died, but not loads. And the cavalry had also taken a beating from I can't remember who it was, but they'd really taken some heavy fire at this point and lost almost half. Yeah.
My Green Banner pie looks like they've disengaged and gone charging towards the centre building.
Yeah.
Giselles are still there. I've lost my tanks on the right hand side. I had the 2 regular tanks, but I'm not too worried yet.
Yep. This is the start of turn 4. I fired on the Bornabangs in the building with the Boars, forcing them to...
Yeah, they lost a rally, and because they were already suppressed, so they abandoned the building.
Yep.
Which I then moved my flame team up into.
Yep.
So I still had the objective. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Fighting Lions had moved over the bridge and started battering on is that a Sterling?
It is a Sterling, yep.
Yeah. One Sterling vanished rapidly. The other one held on.
Surprisingly.
I was quite surprised, yes. That's one of the few. I was like, that wasn't as impressive as I expected.
No, it was quite sort of a unexpected thing where they just sort of took out the one Sterling and didn't manage to even scratch the second one. But
yeah, just over the bridge, you can see my automata have made it across the bridge and are looking for something to brutalise. I'm really annoyed because when we realised we've been playing the flanking rules wrong, and automata couldn't do that because that was one of my favourite tactics, was hammer the automata into your sides. Now I have to actually walk them up the field and everything. It's ridiculous. Yeah, we were looking for something to damage.
Yeah, so this is also where your Bornabangs were making for the other objective. They made the jump from the building to the school.
That's the school building, yeah. And they're heading towards the other bridge to take the other objective, because the automata can't hold it. But the automata can find some field guns and murder them.
Yep. and it was absolute carnage again. They just ran through my poor Drake field guns like they were paper. It was terrifying. They are definitely one of those units where you want to take them off the board as quickly as possible
before they can get into range of you. Thankfully they don't have any ranged attacks for you, but if I can sneak them up the side of the board and then start attacking your artillery, which is exactly what I want to do with them, because artillery have no chance whatsoever against these guys.
No, absolutely zero chance. Yeah, they don't have great heavy attack. It was only 8 dice, and I did a try attacking them before they came into me, but again, dice roll wasn't the best for it, and dice roll for murdering them was impressive. Because they've got shock, shock, isn't it, where they can roll with a bracketed number for people.
Yeah, they get bracketed number for people, which for not for people, for light targets they get shock.
Yeah, light targets.
Yeah.
So they right tool for the right job. This is my second attempt to take out the last of the Green Banner Pie. I charged my horse guard into the flank.
Rolled pretty good. And I do believe that removed them. Looks like some of your artillery is about to get killed.
Yeah, this is where you repositioned the Lao Shan so you could see my boars, who hadn't really done a great deal compared to the last game. They were good, but they weren't amazing. And this is them just, again, being absolutely run through by the Lao Shan.
Is this where you rammed the church? It is, isn't it? Your manoeuvring didn't quite go to plan and you ended up crashing into the church. We didn't make any damage for that, but it looked fun. And it took out a few of the Jezzail teams with the look of it. See an emptied fire into there. And you also looks like you took out my Feng Bows.
Yeah, so I took out both Feng Bows and managed to remove a couple of bases of Jezzails from this. It's your artillery chariots that took the Behemoth Bridge.
That was it.
So yeah, this was your Jezzails took out my remaining rifle platoon group. You decided that taking the Galahad out wasn't going to work.
No. I need to make sure you couldn't contest the centre, not centre, because it's the bridge objective. The centre objective I left alone, I'd abandoned it, but over on the other side, my Bulnabangs had made the other objective, so I was now holding 2 objectives. On the final turn of the game, those objectives were worth ridiculous points each. Was it on the thing? It's if you hold them in turn, 20 points each and 10 points previously. Your tactics was trying to deny me desperately holding one of these, and it just didn't pull off for you. You were chucking everything you could, and nothing could quite get in range, or the dice rolls, didn't you? And my chariots just held on to that.
Yep.
There was nothing on the other side left to take the other bridge. So my what did I put on? What did I put on there to hold the bridge? Was it the rocket team?
The Bulnabangs, yeah.
The Bulnabangs, that was it, yeah. The rocket team, my rocket teams had come in and died very quickly. I'd put them on the flank.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the end of the game. It did take us a while to play. There were mistakes, like we said, rules-wise. I also made the mistake for turns 3 and 4. I forgot to use my aircraft completely, so it didn't touch anything at all. At the end of the game, though, we did decide, sort of wanted to see what would happen if I had have done any dice rolling against my target that I was planning on hitting with the Defiance, which was the Terracotta Warriors, and I think I managed to do if I'd have rolled the damage that I rolled, I would have managed to do a single point of damage to one of the bases. So
Again, your dice rolls were not great, but then again, you never know at the time, would you? But you definitely forgot.
yeah, I totally forgot about it, which is a shame because I would have wanted to run them more than I had done. But it's just one of those things where, because it's off the table, you can't really keep it at the edge of the table very easily because I didn't want to knock it off at all. So yeah, so that was the game. We played all 5 turns. It took a while.
And the final score was
98-25. So I got absolutely thrashed to the point of we would have had to have gone round the counter that we've got to count all the points up.
Yeah. To be fair, that is a little. The majority of those points accumulated in I got 40 points just for holding but 2 objectives in the last turn. So that is slightly unfair on you, I think. It was, in terms of shooting each other, it was starting to swing your way. But you run out of turns, and I was holding on to the objectives for dear life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was definitely holding that centre building. You held it for almost every turn apart from the last one, which you just held the other two.
I held it for turns 2, 3, and 4. So that was 10 points. Is it 10 points per hot turn?
It was 9 points per turn, I believe.
Yeah, 9 points per turn. Plus, I was being fortuitous by wiping out lots of your units, and I had some cards to play. It was. I think the scoreline doesn't reflect how you were playing.
I think it does. I think it represents the fact that I didn't try hard enough to get the objectives and hold any objectives at any point. I just sort of hoped that I could win a war of attrition, which I don't think I could have done in the end. I think I may have got your Lao Shan because you were a lot lower on health than I was. I think you had 4 damage.
Lao Shan wouldn't have made another turn if you'd have given it another round of attacking it. It probably would have gone.
Yeah. I think it definitely would have not lasted the final turn. But I only had the sharp rifles, a single Galahad, and the Sovereign left. And you had your lions,
terracottas, lions,
both the different types of trike and the Bornebangs and the Jezzails. So I don't think I would have won. I think it was possible that I was going to get tabled if there was another turn. So I think it definitely reflects the game. I managed to pull it back a little bit towards the end, but
yeah, I think I just pulled so far ahead by holding the objectives at the end. If I hadn't been holding those objectives, it would have been a much closer game in terms of points. Changes wise, I think we both agreed that the big centre building, treating it like 3 buildings, which again, as we said, is in the rules, was a bit much because it meant it's 2 turns just to get to. Or if we do play it that way again, it certainly won't be the objective next turn because it just was too much to get in there. But it's such an impressive building you built. It's a shame not to use it, but maybe not as an objective next time.
No, maybe not. I think if it fits narratively with the story we're trying to tell, then yes.
Yeah, or maybe just say it's 1 building next time, or whatever.
Yeah.
Having bridges definitely was fun because it in real battles, if you've got a bridge, it's a major key strong point, holding it and so on. And we could probably come up with some objectives where holding the bridge or blowing them up might be part of the plan. But that definitely made it an interesting thing because you've got the infantry have got to come across here. The tanks have got to come across here because it's the only bridge that can hold it. So that definitely, from a tactical point of view, if you think about what can I put on my board, a river and some bridges definitely makes things interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And then when you come to things like the Enlightened, where they've got the sickle gyrocav, and you've got, is it stilted?
Yeah, we've got quite a bit that can just ignore a river. The sickles are flat, they hover. I'm pretty sure the stilted walkers, that's the tripods, and the behemoth would just ignore the river as well. I have to double check that. So that would definitely make it interesting. Obviously, the poor crown can't do that because everything they've got's on wheels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think.
But get a river, put a river on your board, put some bridges on it, see how that changes your game. I thought it changed it quite interestingly. Next game, we'll maybe not use the river, we'll just use roads again. Who knows? We'll see when we get there.
Yeah, definitely. Who are your MVPs for your army for this?
The Bulnabangs took the most points because they held on to the objectives. The Trikes sneaking up on the last objective was certainly... I'm going to say the Bulnabangs, I think, because they didn't do much in terms of shooting, but they certainly proved their worth just by being able to nip from one objective to the other very quickly using their jetpacks. So I'm going to say my Bulnabangs.
It's tricky for me because the Galahads are just consistently such reliable units.
I chucked everything at them and I still didn't kill that unit till the end of the game.
That single tank managed to stand up against Giselles and greatly reduced, but still it managed to stand up against the last attack of the Behemoth as well. Just Galahads are such reliable units that I wouldn't have a force without Galahads.
Yeah. You need to take a lot of firepower to kill them, but you can't ignore them either. They will absolutely kill you if you don't kill them. So you've got to focus on them. They are a massive bullet magnet, but they can take it.
Yeah, totally. And the sharp rifles are they're just such...
Oh, a massive pain in my backside they were. Hidden in the forest, couldn't get at them until right to the end.
And they're bravely
you had to come out of the forest, didn't you, for some reason? You came out of the forest for a reason. You were assaulting... Was it you were trying to assault?
I was trying to... I knew that the lions were going to come for me, and I knew that I'd lose in a fight against those lions, so I just legged it towards the objective, maybe hoping that I might be able to move a little bit away and then shoot. Unfortunately, I just couldn't reach where they were, so I just got away from the lions just to deny you the last little victory points of destroying that unit, because they were definitely going to get mauled to pieces by either the terracotta or the lions, so I got them out of dodge as quickly as possible. I'm going to say sharp rifles, because they killed all the steam bikes, they were picking off bits off the trikes, they were picking off the Bulnabangs, they were just really good at getting rid of light units for me, or at least harassing them and making them break a couple of times. Yeah, I'm going to say sharp rifles. Obviously the behemoths are just incredibly powerful things, but I wouldn't say that it was MVP worthy. Like, they did a lot of damage and stuff, but that's what they are meant to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas the sharp rifles are just guys in cool hats with big guns. So that's the end of the game and the end of the battle report. Is there anything else that we want to talk about?
If you're interested in our terrain, we have literally just put a video on the 31st uploaded about talking about the new terrain we've bought from Pendraken. So if you're interested in, what's that they've got, please have a look at that video. We're going Armoured Clash. I can't wait for the next game.
No, I think the next game is going to be Enlightened versus Imperium, most likely. And I think also it is going to be more of a tailored force. So obviously, we bought into this game early on because, we're doing a podcast on it. So, of course, we're going to buy into the cool stuff as soon as we possibly can.
To be fair, I'd have bought it even if I wasn't doing the podcast.
Well, true. But we had decided that they weren't going to be our main forces. The first forces we picked up weren't going to be our main forces, and we were going to buy Imperium and Enlightened respectively, and they were going to be our main forces. So all of the battles we've done so far are just from the starter battle groups with no additional stuff in. We've just literally gone, I've got to start battle group. I'm going to buy the planes. I'm going to buy all the planes anyway, so we tested out the planes a little bit. And I think, actually, the planes felt not underwhelming because I didn't use them, but the Defiance didn't feel like it was much of a threat to anybody. But I don't know whether that's just because it's the lowest unit level. I think it'd be interesting to try them out.
Well, I've got one scythe, and I'm certainly planning on getting 2 more at some point to increase it to full size. It is going to be one of those things that basic size units, plink, full size units, bang. We'll have to see when we've got them. At the moment, we're both on 1 plane each.
Yeah.
Although I do have a proxy, courtesy of Radomir. He sent me one of his kit bashes. I've got that, so I could always use that as a proxy for another side.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting when we do play the battles where we've actually built a force from the stuff that we want to put in it rather than just the stuff that we have. I
definitely want to build a crab battle group for my Enlightened, so I am going to be buying more armour sprues at some point. I've still got an armour box to build, as well as a second behemoth, so I'm going to have both classes of behemoth to run and shoot, and I hopefully will get them painted. I've tested out my technique of painting quickly, even though they're glued to the stand, so it's not great, but they're painted. I just need to apply that to all the other models that I've not finished yet.
Yeah, I've got all my Imperium stuff built. I've done my tester scheme, which I'm happy with. So I just now need to, like you, get that on all the other models.
What colour are you going with? Are you going for grey or something?
I've gone for a bluey Space Wolves grey colour.
Nice.
With like the same brass colour that I use for the metallics on my Dystopian Wars ships. So it ties together nicely. And also it should be really easy to do the infantry that way, because it's just going to be undercoat, spray, a heavy dry brush, a lighter bluey grey, and then the lightest blue-grey with like a lighter dry brush over the top of it, and then I just need to pick out metallics and skin, and that's it, done. It's not going to be
you're doing it off base when you're doing all this. You're not going to glue them down. You're going to paint them first, then
no,
glue
I'm not
them.
gluing them down. They're going to be on paint and all things.
Yeah.
I'm not painting on sprue again.
That killed you.
Mainly due to I just want to see if it makes it easier for me.
Yeah, get them off the sprue first, then paint them. I think I'm regretting slightly gluing all my inline down that I've done so far. I think I should have painted them first, but I'm an impatient so-and-so. Painting for me takes ages, but building doesn't. I enjoy the building part. So I built them all, glued them all down to sprues, and I'm now just going to have to rough paint them.
Yeah, so it may take a while for the next battle report. We may, maybe if there's sort of the opportunity to play again, we'll just do it another Crown and Empire game, but maybe not back rep it, just play it for fun, and then but the next battle will be Enlightened versus Imperium. On that, I think we've tried different ways of battle reporting before, and this is obviously a new way for us to do it, so we would appreciate any feedback, even if it's negative. It's fine. If you didn't like the photos, you prefer like a filmed thing, or if you'd like what we were planning before, where it was more narrative driven, so it's a story of the battle rather than saying we did this and we did this. It was just sort of like 2 generals clashing on the field and here's the story of it. We can try that. But yeah, just any feedback you've got, let us know, and we'll take it on board and see if we can do it for the next one.
There's a battle rep style for suit everybody out there, I think. Filming them and playing them back, that is tricky for us due to space constraints of where we play. And I've seen a few. It's hard watching someone play a game, just especially at real time. You're like, oh, okay, yep, cool. Live, I'd watch it live, but watching it recorded, I feel like they need to skip. Okay, skip. Okay, they're rolling dice. What are they doing?
Yeah, I think real time is just not feasible for us at all. It'd just be like this, but clips of, okay, this is a big thing that's about to happen, roll the dice, okay, that's killed X amount of things, cool.
Yeah.
next cool thing. But we'll see. If you like this, we'll keep doing it like this, and if not, then we'll try and make changes for the next one. But any feedback is good feedback.
Indeed.
And I think that will do us for this video. So thanks for watching, everyone, and we will catch you in the next one.
Happy trails, pilgrims.